The ancient Egyptians, with their profound reverence for the divine, wove a tapestry of myths and rituals that deeply influenced their culture and daily lives. Central to this rich heritage were the gods and goddesses who governed all aspects of existence, from the celestial movements to the cycles of life and death. Among the pantheon, 5 deities stand out for their enduring legacy: Ra, Osiris, Isis, Horus, and Anubis. Each of these gods played a pivotal role in the spiritual and cultural fabric of ancient Egypt, embodying distinct powers and attributes that commanded veneration and awe. Ra, god of the sun. Within the extensive and archaic Egyptian mythology, Ra is presented as the archetypal creator god, the first energy from which all life sprang. The myths describe Ra emerging from the primordial ocean's chaotic depths, Nun, and bringing light and order to the cosmos. Ra, the main character of the Ennead of Heliopolis, represented the never-ending conflict between light and darkness by traveling across the sky in symbolic representation of the daily cycle of life and death. Ra was a golden god who created life out of nothing at the beginning of time. Through his self-creation, the universe began to exist, with the world as the ancient Egyptians understood it, emerging from darkness into light. The all-powerful sun deity Ra represented the essence of vitality. Ra's artwork emphasized his control over the heavens and his function as the bringer of warmth and life. He was frequently portrayed as a man with the head of a falcon, crowned with a solar disk surrounded by a serpent. His regular voyage through the sky by day and the underworld by night in his solar boat symbolized the never-ending cycle of rebirth and regeneration that was central to the Egyptian way of life. Ra defeated the chaos serpent Apophis as he sailed across the sky in his magnificent solar bark, preserving the sun's daily rebirth and the continuance of the world. Worship of Ra was ubiquitous, with grand temples and sun temples dedicated to his veneration. The most notable of these was the temple complex at Heliopolis, the epicenter of Ra's cult. Daily rituals, performed by priests, included the offering of food, drink, and incense to sustain the god's strength for his perpetual journey. Festivals such as the Feast of Ra celebrated his power and benevolence, reinforcing his status as the supreme deity. Pharaohs, considered the earthly embodiments of Ra, played a crucial role in maintaining the god's favor, ensuring the prosperity and stability of the realm. Elaborate sun temples, such as those at Abu Ghurab, were designed to harness and reflect the power of Ra, serving as focal points for worship and ceremonies that honored the sun god's eternal presence. Osiris, god of the underworld. One of the most important characters in Egyptian mythology, Osiris represented the concepts of death, resurrection, and endless life. The core of Egyptian religious belief is the story of Osiris, Isis, and Set. Envious brother Set betrayed and dismembered the kind-hearted king Osiris. After painstakingly putting his body back together, his wife Isis raised him from the dead, making him the new lord of the underworld. This myth served as a metaphor for the natural cycles and the assurance of rebirth. The tale of Osiris began when he ruled over Egypt and was admired for his fairness and wisdom. Osiris's terrible demise and amazing resurrection by Isis established the Egyptian belief in life after death. As the god of the afterlife, Osiris wielded immense power over the realm of the dead. He was depicted as a mummified king, often with green skin representing fertility and renewal. Osiris held the crook and flail, symbols of kingship and divine authority. His role as the judge of the dead, presiding over the weighing of the heart ceremony, underscored his association with justice and moral integrity. Osiris's green skin symbolizes rebirth and regeneration, reflecting the cyclical nature of life and death. His rulership in the underworld, Duat, was one of order and balance, where he judged the souls of the departed and granted eternal life to the righteous. Egyptian burial customs were closely associated with the worship of Osiris. His most important cult center, Abydos, held an annual event called Mysteries of Osiris, which reenacted the god's death and resurrection, thus cementing the belief that the deceased would live forever. Mummification and the building of ornate tombs were two burial customs intended to mimic Osiris's own resurrection. Offerings of food, drink, and ceremonial items were made to the dead to guarantee their sustenance in the hereafter, and Osiris was in charge of guiding them to the afterlife. Held during these festivals, the Osirian mysteries invited spectators to partake in the divine cycle of death and rebirth through dramatic reenactments of Osiris's death and resurrection. Osiris temples, like those at Abydos and Dendera, served as hubs for devotion and pilgrimage. Isis, goddess of healing and magic. The Egyptian pantheon accorded special and elevated status to Isis, the goddess of magic, childbirth, and fertility. Isis's heavenly ancestry is intricately linked to Ennead, as she was born from the coupling of Geb, the soil god, and Nut, the sky goddess. She is portrayed as a symbol of steadfast loyalty and strong magical ability due to her devotion to her husband Osiris and her crucial part in his resurrection tale. Isis's love and will to bring her husband back to life, as the sister wife of Osiris, highlight her exceptional magical talents and her duty to defend life and family. Isis possessed formidable magical abilities, enabling her to manipulate reality and protect her loved ones. Often depicted wearing a throne-shaped headdress, she symbolized royal power and maternal care. Isis's role extended beyond the realm of magic. She was also a healer and protector, revered for her ability to provide solace and security. Her imagery frequently included the sistrum, an ancient musical instrument associated with joy and festivity. Isis's magic was so powerful that she was believed to have tricked Ra into revealing his secret name, thus gaining unparalleled divine knowledge. Her protective wings, often depicted in artwork, symbolized her encompassing care and protection over her devotees. The extensive worship of Isis even had an impact on adjacent societies, extending beyond geographic borders. Major pilgrimage locations were transformed into temples honoring her, such the one on Philae Island. Isis was honored with processions, sacrifices, and prayers, asking for her protection and blessings throughout her festivals and rituals. Her reputation for compassion and strength proved to be enduring, as seen by her veneration as a global goddess of nature and magic throughout the Greco-Roman era. In celebration of her role as the giver of light and everyone's defender, festivals like the Feast of Lamps saw hundreds of lamps lit in her honor. In order to provide initiates with a stronger bond with the divine, her mysteries were enacted in a sequence of sacred rites that mimicked her legendary feats. Horus, god of war and the sky. The sky deity Horus, who guarded the pharaohs, was a major figure in Egyptian mythology. Horus, the son of Isis and Osiris, has a rich history steeped in the epic tale of divine struggle and legitimate kingship. In a story that represented the victory of order over chaos, Horus fought his uncle Set for the kingship of Egypt for a long time after Osiris's death. Horus was miraculously conceived through Isis's magical abilities after her death. His early years, which he spent in hiding from Set, were replete with hardships that helped him develop into a strong warrior. Kingship and heavenly protection were idealized in Horus. Frequently portrayed as a falcon or a man with a falcon's head, he was said to be ruling both Upper and Lower Egypt by virtue of his dual crowns. In Egyptian culture, the Eye of Horus became one of the most powerful amulets, signifying the god's protective and caring nature. It is a symbol of protection, healing, and restoration. As a representation of his dominion over both day and night, Horus's left eye represented the moon and his right eye the sun. He emphasized his role as the everlasting guardian of order against disorder by his confrontations with Set, which are frequently portrayed in temple reliefs. The veneration of Horus was integral to the concept of pharaonic rule. Pharaohs were seen as the living incarnations of Horus, ensuring the god's continued protection over Egypt. Temples dedicated to Horus, such as the Grand Temple at Edfu, served as centers of worship and political authority. Rituals included offerings, hymns, and the reenactment of Horus's battles with Set, emphasizing the eternal struggle to maintain order and justice. The Eye of Horus amulet was commonly worn to invoke the god's protection and favor, reflecting his pervasive influence on daily life and spiritual practices. The Temple of Edfu, one of the best preserved temples in Egypt, showcases the grandeur and importance of Horus's worship, with intricate carvings and reliefs depicting his mythological battles and victories. Anubis, god of afterlife. Egyptian funeral customs were greatly influenced by the mysterious god of mummification and the afterlife, Anubis. Anubis was born to Nephthys and Set, according to mythology. However, some versions identify Ra as his father. Anubis is portrayed in the Osiris narrative as the king's defender and preserver, which is the source of his link with the dead and embalming. Appropriate for the administrator of the afterlife, Anubis's origins remain mysterious. Anubis was abandoned and adopted by Isis as a young child, which may have contributed to his devotion to his responsibilities in the underworld. He was the illegitimate son of Nephthys and Set. Anubis wielded significant influence over the funerary realm. Depicted as a jackal or a man with a jackal's head, he symbolized the protective and guiding aspects of the afterlife. Anubis was believed to oversee the embalming process, ensuring the preservation of the body for its journey to the afterlife. His role in the weighing of the heart ceremony, where the deceased's heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at, underscored his function as a judge and guide, ensuring the just passage of souls. Anubis's jackal form was closely associated with cemeteries, as jackals were often seen prowling the edges of the desert near tombs. This connection made him a natural guardian of the dead. His black fur symbolized the color of mummified flesh and the fertile soil of the Nile, representing both death and rebirth. Funerary customs and behaviors were strongly associated with the worship of Anubis. Temples and necropolises, such as the sacred site of Saqqara, were centers of Anubis's cult. Priests, often wearing jackal masks, performed elaborate rites to invoke the god's protection during the mummification process. The opening of the mouth ceremony, a critical ritual conducted during burial, sought Anubis's blessing to restore the deceased's senses in the afterlife. Offerings and prayers to Anubis were made to secure safe passage and favorable judgment for the departed, reflecting the god's integral role in the Egyptian conception of death and rebirth. Anubis's priests were highly skilled embalmers, ensuring that the bodies of the deceased were meticulously prepared for their journey to the afterlife. The weighing of the heart ceremony, depicted in the Book of the Dead, showed Anubis leading the deceased to the scales of Ma'at, where their fate would be decided. The gods of ancient Egypt, with their intricate myths and powerful attributes, shaped the spiritual and cultural landscape of one of history's most fascinating civilizations. Ra, Osiris, Isis, Horus, and Anubis each embodied essential aspects of life, death, and the cosmos, commanding reverence and devotion across the ages. Their stories, steeped in themes of creation, resurrection, protection, and justice, continue to captivate and inspire, offering profound insights into the timeless human quest for meaning and transcendence. Through their enduring legacy, these deities remind us of the rich tapestry of belief and ritual that once defined the majestic world of ancient Egypt. The tales of these gods are not just relics of the past, but living legacies that continue to echo through time, inspiring awe and reverence for the mysteries of existence. Their influence extends beyond the sands of Egypt, touching the hearts and minds of those who seek to understand the profound connections between the divine and the mortal, the eternal dance of life and death, and the enduring power of myth and legend. So this was our journey through some of the mysterious deities of ancient Egypt. Stay tuned for the upcoming part of this series.